You ever seen a grown man on a police horse, yelling like he's king of the damn city, shove that 1,000-pound animal straight into a woman half his size just because she stood still? Yeah, that happened. And the thing that still makes me shake my head, he did it to the wrong woman. The kind of woman that don't need to shout to make the whole damn system tremble. Let me take you back. It was one of those weirdly peaceful protest mornings. Warm sunlight, kids with painted signs, parents holding hands, some folks singing, some just standing still like stone. The kind of crowd where everyone's been hurt in different ways, but for 1 hour they all breathed together. Downtown Clearwater, Ohio. April. You could smell magnolia in the wind, mixing with heat coming off the pavement. Storefronts had their windows taped just in case. Cop cruisers were lined up on every corner, engines still running. And then there were the mounted units, horses tall and proud, riders taller in their own heads. I remember seeing her before anyone else did. Carmen Rios. Short frame, dark navy skirt, clean white blouse, buttons all the way to the collar. Didn't carry a sign, didn't chant. She had one little leather bag tucked close to her chest, and she stood quiet under the shade of a maple tree like she'd been planted there on purpose. She didn't look like trouble, but sometimes that's the most dangerous kind. Carmen wasn't there to fight, not in the usual way. She was watching everything, like she was taking mental notes with every step and breath and broken chant in the air. Thing is, Carmen used to fight. Before the judge robe, before the appointments, she was a public defender, the type who showed up to night hearings with case files in one hand and a child's toy in the other, 'cause the mother couldn't find a sitter. She carried stories in her bones. That's what people didn't see. And Officer Trent Bowers? He didn't see anything. Just a woman. Black. Not moving. He came up the avenue loud. I mean loud. His horse stomping like a war drum, face hard, mouth open like he was born to bark orders. And when he saw Carmen, just standing there, calm as Sunday, he yelled, "Move it, lady! You don't belong in the street!" She didn't flinch. Didn't blink. And that made him madder. So he leaned in hard, yanked the reins, and that damn horse lunged. Its chest slammed into her shoulder. Her body folded back like someone pulled the air out of her. She hit the ground hard, knees, palms, cheek, and from her blouse pocket rolled a small silver badge. Not a protest button, not a pin. A federal judge's badge. That thing clinked against the concrete like a bell tolling for somebody's career. At first, folks didn't know what they saw. People gasped, phones came up. Some shouted for medics, others just froze. But one kid, a college student named Mason, live streaming the whole thing, zoomed in on the badge, and once the camera caught her name, once that title hit the bottom of the screen in bold, Judge Carmen Rios, United States Court of Appeals, the internet exploded. Within 2 hours, the video was everywhere. No edits, no filters, just raw, shaky footage of a cop on horseback knocking down a federal judge like she was a piece of litter. 35,000 shares by sunset. By midnight, hashtag Judge Rios was trending nationwide, and Officer Trent Bowers, his badge was already under review. But see, that's just the surface. The real story, it happened in the cracks, in the silence. Carmen didn't speak to the media, didn't release a statement. She didn't have to. She knew how the system worked, better than anyone. So while everyone else was shouting, she moved quiet. Behind the scenes, her legal team activated fast. One of her old clerks, Meredith Cole, razor sharp, used to clerk for the Supreme Court, gathered every angle of footage she could find, not just the live stream, but department body cams, nearby business security, even drone footage from a protest monitoring group. And what they found, the body cams were tampered with. Several had missing timestamps. 2 were mysteriously malfunctioning. But one backup file from the mounted unit stable had raw feed from inside the station. And guess who found it? Officer Andre Walker, mounted division tech guy, quiet, always wore headphones. Turns out Walker had a little sister who marched in that same protest. And when he saw what they were trying to delete, he didn't go to his superior. He went to Carmen. And that changed everything. Because the footage showed more than just the knockdown. It showed Trent rehearsing his line before deployment. She doesn't move. She gets moved. He knew he was going to hit someone. And when that someone turned out to be a federal judge, well, it wasn't just brutality anymore. It was war on the judiciary. That's when the Department of Justice got involved. Subpoenas were issued. Internal Affairs was forced to open a full review. Lieutenant Gerald Mason, head of the mounted unit, was placed on leave. But Trent? Trent still thought he could spin it. He said the horse was startled, said she lunged, said he didn't know who she was. But no matter what he said, there was that one piece of footage. Carmen's fall. That slow, painful moment. Her knees giving way, her hand scrambling for grip, and her badge, spinning on the ground like a coin of fate. And then came the twist no one expected. One of the mounted officers, Malcolm Reyes, former Marine, now a city cop, stepped forward, quietly. He testified that Trent had used the same tactic before, that knocking down protesters was part of the show, that they were encouraged to be aggressive. Malcolm handed over his journals, time-stamped reports, even an old group chat from within the department, full of messages mocking protesters, making racist jokes, and laughing about teaching them respect. The city tried to bury it. Didn't work. Because Carmen's legal team, they'd been waiting, not just for justice, but for proof. And now they had it. The case broke open like a dam giving way. Senators got involved. Journalists dug up old complaints against Trent Bowers, 7 of them, dating back 6 years. None ever reached internal review. Wonder why? Meanwhile, Carmen returned to the bench. Yeah, she walked back into her courtroom like nothing happened. Gavel in hand, bruises hidden under makeup, but eyes sharper than ever. And then, on a quiet Friday morning, she held a hearing. One of the plaintiffs asked her hesitantly, "Do you think dignity needs proof?" She smiled, tilted her head, and said, "Dignity only needs one witness, yourself." That clip went viral too, but she didn't flinch from the fame. She just kept going. And that mural they painted were right on the wall of the building where she was hit. It's still there. Shows her standing tall, her back to the viewer, facing a shadowy mounted figure in the distance. No weapons, no fire, just presence. 3 words painted at her feet. Truth stands still. And Trent? He was permanently barred from law enforcement. Lost his pension. Now works private security in some warehouse district, last I heard. He appealed the ruling. Twice. Got denied both times. Some say he got off easy. Some say Carmen should have pressed criminal charges. But you know what she said? This was never about punishment. It was about exposure. And she was right. Because after all the headlines faded, the silence she carried, that refusal to yell, that stillness she held when everything collapsed around her, that's what stayed. It forced people to look. And now let me ask you, if you were standing in that square, if you saw a cop knock down a woman like that, would you have spoken up, or would you have waited to see who she was first? Because maybe that's the real indictment here, not what was done, but what it took for people to care. So yeah, tell me what you think. Drop it in the comments. Was Carmen right to stay silent? Did Trent get what he deserved? Or is the system still waiting for its real reckoning? Let's talk about justice, or the lack of it. Your turn.